Underwhelming. Quote, medicine, close quote, didn't work for me at all on night 1 and even had 3 doses. Hearing people vomit, sob, and laugh next to me for the next 4 hours seemed super awkward and kind of traumatic. Ladies and gentlemen, what did you think you were signing up for?
So I just start out at the beginning and tell you a little bit first by show of hands. Who's been here before? Okay, good. Who's done medicine? Ayahuasca. Really good. Who smoked weed? Fantastic.
Everyone.
Who's got assorted nightclub drugs? Wonderful crowd. I like it. This is my kind of crowd. Fantastic.
Let's read some reviews from some people who were stupid enough to do this, but intelligent enough to regret it later. I have been on a healing journey for a while now, and Rythmia seemed to be what I really needed. The accommodations, food, and staff were all great. However, the entire stay was far from healing for me. It felt like we were rushed from one place to another to listen to lectures about how others healed themselves. The same story told by the owner. Oh, gee, really? You think they tell the same story again and again to you? I would have never guessed that.
And I said, good, because I need help. I need help. So he said, fly faster, and flying faster, and flying faster. And anybody from the 80s that remembers, like, Galaga or Defender, those old-fashioned games, the stars started streaming this way. They started streaming this way. And like I was like, I'm never getting my money back because the folks at American Express, if they find out about this shit, they're not going to give me my money back. And then he yells, stop. And I stopped. And he said, look to your left. And I looked to my left and he goes, do you see the moon? And it was right fucking there. And I thought, this guy knows his shit. Right? The moon's right there. And he said, fly to the moon. So I turned and I flew to the moon.
The same story told by the owner about how he healed his trauma, which wasn't done with ayahuasca. Remembering a traumatic experience isn't healing when there is no follow-up or help to process it. Now, here is a pretty fundamental point. Even if you don't care about the brain damage, what's the point of getting high and hallucinating about your trauma from the past and then imagining that you get sober, stand up, and you're better off than you were before? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So he or she says, I laid on my mattress 2 nights in a row and stayed there till the sun came up, unable to move and in physical pain with no one trying to help. The cleaning people sweeping around me when I tried to rest because I was told I could stay as long as I needed to. When I tried to talk to somebody about my pain and not wanting to do another ceremony, I was offered some Advil and electrolytes and told I should do another ceremony. I did all 4 ceremonies and went home feeling no better than when I came. Imagine that! It's like the recreational use of hallucinogens is not a cure for any known disease, condition, psychological problem, or even emotional or intellectual problem. If you hate your job, you get high, go home, you got the same job. If you hate your wife, get high, get sober, go home, you still hate your wife. You had bad parents, bad education, bad childhood, whatever it is you're upset about, getting high won't help. And the hallucinogenic experience of ayahuasca at this high price is no different, no better, and no worse. All right, we continue. I had so much faith and hope for this place. That's the problem right there. You had faith and you had hope. I had so much faith and hope for this place to be a true life-changing experience. It was a lot of money to spend for some good homemade organic food. I believe healing involves a lot of rest, healthy, nutritious meals, guidance, and support. The guidance and support was not available, and the rest was impossible because there was always a lecture to get to, and it felt like we were taking a course and would fail if we didn't get to class on time. Well, imagine. At least they feel they have something to teach you. Review number 2, terrible, unsafe practices, exploitation of plant medicine and people. In the plant medicine ceremonies, we were in a group of about 80 people with only about 4 attendants who were white festival kids. Can you believe that? You paid $4,000 to go to a hippie drug tourist haven and get high on hallucinogens, and you're hanging out with white hippie festival kids? I am shocked. I was expecting, the most respectable of East Asian PhD wielding, research scientists. No, wait, maybe black African anthropologists. Who were you thinking you were going to have? White festival kids. Damn straight. Okay, they were white festival kids with little experience and no traditional lineage education for ayahuasca. So that was your expectation, was you'd have authentic indigenous South American people attending to you while you vomit and retch and hallucinate and talk about how much you hated your parents growing up in English. Okay, well, whatever works for you. For $4,000, apparently that's not what you get. Right. Playing terrible contemporary pop hits for music. Oh, isn't that terrible when you pay a fortune to get high and you're hanging out with a bunch of white festival kids who are listening to, I don't know. What pop culture, what are they listening to? They're listening to Ariana Grande on the boombox? Is it going to be Tekashi 6ix9ine? What are you getting down to while you're puking your guts up and hallucinating about how much you hate your parents? It's tough. I thought we would have authentic, acoustic, indigenous music while we were vomiting and hallucinating. How dare you? Okay, I couldn't get the help I needed during the ceremony. There was an unsafe ratio of facilitators to guests, especially with so many beginners present on both sides. Clearly, profit is the bottom line in this luxury plant medicine factory. They take the ayahuasca experience and twist it with too much New Age hype. This kind of cultural appropriation is sad. Okay, on that, I can sympathize. But what did you expect? The whole life story of the guy who founded this place is part of its, package deal. It's part of what he's selling. You can buy his book and read about how he as some kind of successful white millionaire businessman drug addict decided to turn his life around with yet more drug addiction. Cocaine and marijuana screwed up my life. So then I started using this other drug. The brain damage from that was way better for me. All right. But interesting that this person was able to perceive, at least, the cultural appropriation involved in this. During the retreat and in their marketing, they promised people a, quote, miracle, close quote. This kind of promise is exploitative and irresponsible. It comes across as pressure for people to have a particular experience. Plant medicine is not necessarily a miracle. Yeah, you've got that right. Sometimes it can be very difficult or challenging, and there is long-term integration that people need to do in order to really see the full benefits. There is not enough support or education regarding integration. I have no idea what integration is a code word for here. This place is certainly nice, strictly as a resort, but as someone who is well-versed in various quality plant medicine experiences, this place is weak and even dangerous. I would say, too, at this price, if you want a life-changing experience, you could go and see the pyramids in Egypt. You could go and see the ancient monuments in Greece. You could actually learn something about the real world. And, again, my point being it's not just seeing, the pyramids in Egypt that's meaningful, but you could really learn something. You could have a meaningful experience for probably less than $4,000 or $5,000 that could change the rest of your life in a really, palpable way. But, ladies and gentlemen, this ain't it. Review number 3, Underwhelming. Quote, medicine, close quote, didn't work for me at all on night 1 and even had 3 doses. Hearing people vomit, sob, and laugh next to me for the next 4 hours seemed super awkward and kind of traumatic. Ladies and gentlemen, what did you think you were signing up for? I was too frightened to do it again the next night in case it didn't work on me again, and I had to hear everyone else while so sober. Accommodations are basic and clean, not a very intimate experience. The group was around 85 people for the week I went. The shaman seemed like regular people to me. I got news for you, honey. We're all regular people. If you meet the Pope in Rome, he's a regular person. And yes, the white hipsters who call themselves shaman, that they also are regular people. And guys, in case you were wondering, the word shaman has absolutely nothing to do with the indigenous people of South America. It has everything to do with the history of Russia, with anthropologists in the former Soviet Union picking up this term. It had to do with the the Tungus people, some of the tribal minority people in the Soviet Union, and their religious traditions. So somehow it's being applied to other indigenous peoples around the world, thanks to the blender of cultural anthropology. All right, here we go. The shaman seemed like regular people to me. I'd like to second that. I think they truly are regular people. It's not just that they seem like regular people. Quote, I guess I was anticipating more magic. If you want magic, try Disneyland. There at least, the shaman dress up in a giant costume like a Mickey Mouse. Some people seem to really get a lot out of the whole experience. Others didn't feel much either. At times I was wondering if people were faking it. I've gotten more from a yoga retreat than this experience. Food wasn't great. Whole Foods buffet has better food. Founder is entertaining, but I couldn't find his life story very relatable. Overall, kind of underwhelming. Let me tell you something. You won't get the $5,000 back. Here's another straightforward review. Not bad, but not worth the money. Skipping to the part underlined in red here. The cons. The cost is crazy expensive compared to other ayahuasca retreats, at least 4 times more, and continues to climb. The cheapest rooming option is around $4,000, and you would be sharing the room with 2 other guests. They even make you pay a separate medical fee to be cleared by medical staff to participate in the ceremonies. I believe that fee is over $400 now, and to be transported to the airport. For comparison, I've gone to 2 other retreats in Peru and Colombia for 2 weeks each and spent half the cost of what I spent for 1 week at Rythmia. The breathwork class and ayahuasca ceremonies had a lot of potential to be deeply healing, but due to the large size of the group, it was often very difficult to get support through rough passages that someone might go through during this kind of work. That is extremely dangerous to me. I went through a very difficult time, and one of the helpers simply walked away from me. I struggled with suicidal thoughts after leaving the retreat and have reached out to the center for help, but it doesn't seem that they are interested in making time for me unless I shelve out another $5,000 to make a trip there for a week. So actually in English, I think it would be shell out $5,000. But when you're talking about $5,000, I guess it's a whole shelf of money to shelve out another $5,000. Guys, if you want to join a religion, if you join any mainstream religion like Catholicism, you'd probably, go to Rome. Go to Rome, get a tour of the Vatican, probably cost you less money. You'll get something out of it. Learn the history of the Crusades. You learn about the wars between the Mongol Empire and whatever. There's something to it. See some paintings. Overall value of a tour of Vatican City, probably greater than puking your guts out with a bunch of hippies listening to Ariana Grande music. All right, number 5, great experience. This one is titled Great Experience, but opens with the observation, I feel I have to put a review on TripAdvisor. Until the last 2 days, everything was great. On the last night, I had diarrhea, dizziness, and nausea. Before I left the resort in the morning, I went to the clinic. The 2 ladies there were very helpful. They gave me some pills. Today is the 4th day, and still my diarrhea is going on. I'm now at home and have a doctor's appointment. Other than diarrhea, there were some other specific problems. So yeah, this is the problem with human nature. If this drug caused acne, everyone would say, forget it. Don't do ayahuasca. You don't want to have pimples. You don't want to have acne. You don't want to look in the mirror and look ugly, okay? Ayahuasca causes diarrhea. You get people complaining. It's not worth it. You puke. You get diarrhea, all right? And everyone knows that before they sign up for this bullshit. But brain damage, proof, MRI scan proof, we know as a scientific fact, this causes brain damage. This causes permanent structural changes in the brain. And people take a really philosophical attitude towards that. Like, well, I don't know. People say it's a pretty great vacation. There are upsides and downsides to it. You puke, you have diarrhea. But on the other hand, permanent life-altering, mind-altering structural changes in the brain, permanent brain damage. For $4,000, why not?
Really, people like to disrespect my crew, but the fact is that you know my name and I don't know you.